Shannon Sharpe has been one of the loudest voices in that conversation. He's not just trolling Floyd, he's pointing out the cracks in the foundation, the contradiction between a man who flaunts hundreds of millions and the reality of someone who owes millions to the government. That contradiction is where the story begins, because Floyd isn't just a man with money. He's a man obsessed with being seen as someone with money. That's the difference. One is real. The other is performance. And that performance is starting to look shaky. It's not just Shannon. Floyd's financial habits have become the talk of sports media for a while now. Reports of back taxes mounting up, court filings requesting more time to pay debt settlements coming due, and rumors about betting losses in other countries. None of this fits with the narrative that Floyd's trying to sell. Because if you've got generational wealth, the way you claim paying taxes shouldn't be a problem. Dodging bills shouldn't be the norm, and lying about property you don't own shouldn't even cross your mind. This isn't just about how much you make. It's about how you spend it. Floyd's lifestyle isn't just rich, it's loud, it's aggressive, it's excessive. During the 2024 Super Bowl weekend in Las Vegas, he reportedly dropped over $1 million on a suite at the Allegiant Stadium. And that's not counting the bets and shopping sprees that came with it. That kind of behavior might make sense for someone who's swimming in endless cash, but for someone who's asking the IRS for breathing room, it starts to look a lot more desperate. And then there are the lawsuits. Floyd's jeweler filed legal action in Miami, claiming unpaid debts. Rumors swirled that he'd have to start selling off assets just to stay afloat. And in the background are the exhibition fights, those bizarre matchups against YouTubers, influencers, and retired athletes that bring in quick cash but cost him in credibility. Floyd calls them easy money, but critics call them a red flag, because if you're truly financially secure, why keep stepping into a ring with people who aren't even real threats? Joe Rogan said, "At best, Floyd doesn't act like someone who's financially safe. He acts like someone who's addicted to the image. Someone who's got to keep the money rolling in because the expenses never stop. The private jets, the bodyguards, the entourage, the designer, everything that doesn't come cheap. And unless there's a constant stream of income, that kind of life eats through even the biggest bank account. It's a cycle. Make money, spend money, fake more money. Repeat." Mike Tyson had a softer take. He said Floyd should just enjoy life now and stop trying to prove anything. But Shannon didn't buy that, because it's not about enjoying it, it's about managing it. Floyd's financial choices don't suggest enjoyment. They scream insecurity, the kind that needs constant validation, that needs to post every receipt, every purchase, every ounce of luxury just to prove something to the world. And then there's the fake real estate stunt Floyd posted online, claiming he'd bought multiple apartments in Manhattan, one of the most expensive places on the planet. But when the facts came out, it turned out he didn't actually own the properties. It was another case of Floyd playing rich instead of being rich, using social media to sell a lifestyle he can't even legally back up. It's the kind of move that destroys credibility and feeds into every criticism people like Shannon Sharpe have been making for years. That's what makes all this so different. Floyd isn't just facing rumors, he's facing receipts. The paper trail doesn't lie. The taxes, the lawsuits, the fake property claims, they all point to a deeper issue. And that's what's eroding the legacy. Not the exhibition fights, not the trolling, not even the critics. It's the fact that more and more people are starting to believe the emperor has no clothes, and Floyd's brand is built on a foundation that's more illusion than empire. And the criticism isn't just coming from media. Stephen A. Smith, a longtime supporter of Floyd, went on air and said he was heartbroken. Not angry, not disappointed, heartbroken, because he's watched Floyd build a career from nothing, turn boxing into a business, make more money than anyone in the sport ever has, and then risk it all for cheap paydays and clout-chasing exhibitions that feel more like circus acts than legacy moments. That kind of public call-out from someone who once defended you relentlessly, that hits different. And if you think it's just boxing purists talking, even casual fans are noticing the change. Floyd's name used to mean dominance, discipline, precision. Now it's becoming a punchline. Another celebrity stuck in the influencer cycle, hopping from one meaningless event to the next just to keep the spotlight warm. His legend was supposed to be untouchable. Instead, he's turning himself into a meme. That's where the tragedy lies. Floyd had the tools to be more than just a great fighter. He could have become a mogul, a business tycoon, a blueprint for how to turn ring success into real-world financial Empires instead, he's become a cautionary tale about what happens when you confuse image with reality and when you build your reputation on flash instead of substance. James Toney saw it coming years ago. He said Floyd ain't the greatest. Not because he wasn't skilled, but because he never fought the killers in their prime. He waited, he ducked, he cherry-picked, not to avoid damage, but to protect the brand. Because 50-0 looks better than 48-2. And that brand is everything to Floyd, even now. Even when it's falling apart, he's still trying to sell it, like it's bulletproof. But that brand only works when people believe it. When they think the money is real, the assets are real, the success is real. Once people start doubting even one part of the story, the whole thing starts to fall apart, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Every fake flex, every delayed payment, every questionable fight adds another crack to the image, and the cracks are starting to show the thing. Floyd isn't alone in this. Plenty of stars have burned through fortunes by trying to keep up appearances, but Floyd's different because he was supposed to be smarter than that. He was supposed to be the one who beat the system, who controlled every aspect of his career, who negotiated every deal on his terms, who said no to promoters and yes to freedom. Now it looks like that freedom came at a cost, because when you don't have anyone to answer to, you also don't have anyone to stop. The people around Floyd aren't going to tell him to slow down, not when they're getting paid to keep the illusion alive. But the fans, the critics, the insiders, they're all starting to see through it. And when that happens, it's only a matter of time before the house of cards comes down. It's not about whether Floyd is broke or rich, it's about whether the life he's selling is sustainable or just a fantasy. Even Logan Paul, who fought Floyd in a massive exhibition, still hasn't been fully paid according to his own public statements. And that raises a big question. If Floyd is making 20 or 30 million a fight like he claims, why hasn't he squared away something as basic as that? Why the excuses? Why the silence? Those are questions that don't just hurt the brand. They destroy it, because in the end, real wealth doesn't scream. It whispers. Real legacy doesn't need applause. It builds itself slowly, quietly, with intention. Floyd Mayweather had a chance to be that kind of figure, to show what it means to be both rich and wise, to be both successful and secure. Instead, he's showing the world how quickly you can go from respected legend to desperate performer if you don't know when to walk away. The people calling him out now aren't haters. They're people who once believed in him, who saw him as a genius in the ring and a mastermind outside of it, and they're frustrated not because he lost it, but because he's wasting it, because he's choosing short-term validation over long-term greatness, and because he's becoming the very thing he used to outsmart. So when you see Floyd on Instagram, counting stacks again, flexing watches again, talking about his Chanel bag collection again, ask yourself, is this a man living his best life, or a man trying to convince the world that he still is? Is he the king of boxing, or a prisoner of his own image? Is he rich, or is he just playing rich? And how long can anyone play that role before the curtain? Falls, drop your thoughts below, and subscribe if you want more raw, real breakdowns like this. Because when it comes to legacy, money, and fame, not everything that glitters is gold, especially not when the receipts say otherwise.